Sports X Radio with Ken Thompson.
Come with me.
KT on a Hump Day live here, Panache and Boyle Studios, back at Steiner's next week for a couple nights. Just a little mishap, and when in doubt, gotta have backup plans. And even if you don't have them, you gotta have friends that have backup plans. So I had to call a couple friends, and it was like, if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they're like, no, I'm sorry, you've already phoned a friend, Thompson. Not going to be able to help you here. I phoned several friends. First off, got to thank Fish Fane, Ragusa. These guys were helping me because they were setting up the table over at Steiner's, and then all of a sudden I'm telling them, you know what? I'm driving back to go to a car to get the equipment, but I can't get in the car. And so it was like Keystone Cop. I couldn't make this stuff up. So, then I'm realizing, all right, well, Joey Q now can't make it out to Steiner, so he can't be there in hour number 2. And I'm going, gosh dang, and the NBA draft's going on. I can't even keep up on it because I'm worried about putting out all these fires here because I screwed up. And so I'm like, oh my God, the NBA buzz kid. I mean, that kid doesn't sleep, man. He's like 15 years old. He's up all night, man. He's back in New York. The guy, now I find out he's 21. So now I promised him, I go, look, when you finally turn 21, I'm thinking that's like I'm buying myself 5 years, right? I'm thinking I'm okay. By the time Mikey turns 21, KT, I'll be good to go. He's like, hey, I just turned 21. I'll be out next month. And lo and behold, just teasing. But Mikey Domagala, this kid, I swear to God, man, it was an incredible story and had him on a couple of times, last time back in August. But I'm figuring, you know what? Let me call him. Answers like he's never even slept. Hey, hi, how are you? Yeah, sure. What time you need? Is that at 12 midnight exactly my time or 12:05, Mikey? Is that good? Yep, after the spots play. Domagala, you're a piece of work, man. Young kid. I just can imagine your parents going like, does this kid ever sleep, man? I mean, it's just nonstop. But I was like that when I was your age, and my wife will tell you I'm still like that. Like she'll say, 2 a.m, I'm reciting the Richard Badge and Finley Toyota out-of-town scoreboard tour. So, lo and behold, it is great to have you back on Sports X Radio. Mikey D, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, you have me on short notice, and man, I got to tell you, when you're so determined to be successful and to be great, you don't sleep. So here we are on a hump day. I know this is a big show for you, and this isn't your average hump day. The night after the NBA draft just concluded, I was working my butt off. I could finally sit back in my recliner and just chill for the rest of the night. I was working like crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And I get you to be able to reflect. And you're there in New York, and I'm a big-time Knicks fan. And it's really, for us old school folks, it's really frustrating to watch this team. But for some of the younger guys, I'm thinking back, like, they're not as fortunate as me because they never got to see this team actually win a championship. I'm at least that old now that I can say I got to see that. But I do like the pick of Obi Toppin. Get him at number 8. I loved what this kid brought to the game last year at Dayton, and I'm a big college basketball guy. And when I saw them play in Hawaii, I said, this kid's pretty good. I can't wait to see what he's got against Kansas. And lo and behold, he held his own there. And that team held their own. And I said, look, if they're really that good, they should be able to run the table inside the Atlantic 10. Lo and behold, they ran the table in the Atlantic 10. I said, this kid is a good, solid team player. He's not just about himself. He sets up other players, makes them better. Anthony Grant did a great job coaching that team. There were more players. There were, 3 or 4 other key cogs on that squad. But that's where, I look back at 2020 and the COVID and just getting burned out of we got burnt out of a March Madness, and one that a lot of us lived for, and it would have been a lot of fun to see what this Dayton team could have done. I think they were good enough to play with anybody, and I would have liked to see them get a revenge chance at Kansas. I thought that would have been awesome because Kansas was the overall number 1, and I just thought Dayton was good enough to be in that final game. So that's where I'm in the mock bracket. I ended up having, I believe it was Kansas and Dayton. Now, naturally, we didn't know which region either we're going to go to, but we kind of prognosticated a little bit. But how good is this pick for the Knicks? And what else is on the burner as far as the Knicks? Because we've heard about Russell Westbrook. We've heard about, different players potentially. And then we've also heard, nobody really wants to go to New York. Or they do, but they want to go to Brooklyn. A different borough, So talk to me first on the Knicks as far as the front. First, your take on the pick of Toppin, and then also what else will the Knicks be looking to do so that they can set this squad up there for Thibodeau in his first season?
Oh, man, I'm so ecstatic with Obi Toppin. He was exactly who I wanted them to take, and there they are. He drops to number 8. I thought he was going to be, between 4 and 7, and the Knicks, of course, again, missing out on somebody like that. But they got Toppin. Thank God, because like you said, very versatile big man. I mean, he could play the 3, the 4, and I mean, how the league is going now, he could even play the center spot if you look what Houston's doing. But, yeah, he could step out from mid-range, even shoot some threes, runs the pick and roll pretty nicely as a roller. Extremely fast for like a big, big dude. So I'm very excited about him. To stay in the draft even more, at number 23, they drafted Leandro Balmoro. Off the top of my head, I can't remember where he's out of, but he's a point guard who's very versatile, and he'll add to the Knicks as well. And, yeah, like you said, great point about players do want to come to New York. Now it's just Brooklyn. We see the Harden rumors and stuff like that. Next up for the Knicks, I see them. They need a top-tier free agent, Ken. They need somebody like a Russell Westbrook, a Victor Oladipo, Brandon Ingram potentially, even though I think the Pelicans are going to lock him up. But it's looking like the Knicks want to trade for Russell Westbrook, and I wouldn't mind it. Russ needs a new team where he could be Russell Westbrook and lead a pair of guys and this Knicks team into the playoffs. And, man, I'm a Knicks fan. I know you are, and every New Yorker wants to see them back into contention.
And, of course, with Brooklyn fielding the stars that they have, it would only make sense for New York, Brooklyn, for that to start a rivalry that's really never gotten off the ground.
Yeah, there's that rivalry, and you got to think, if they get Westbrook, there's the Russell Westbrook versus Kevin Durant in-city rivalry. Now, that's pretty exciting. We know that they've, former teammates, they're successful in OKC, later had beef. I think they're still friendly with each other, but they're not exactly on the greatest of terms. So that would be exciting as well. And yeah, man, the Knicks are the kings of New York, and they're in the Mecca at MSG. They need winning basketball there ASAP.
No doubt about it. Winning basketball, those two things, those two words right there just don't coincide with the Knicks team that we've seen over the last 5-6 years. And it's really been laughable at times. But not really. If you're truly a Knicks fan, it gets frustrating because you just say, gosh dang it, every time it seems like there's a bunch of picks that are ready to go down, they either screw it up with the picks or they trade the picks and get somebody that's past their prime and whatnot. And so when I heard, Knicks, Chris Paul, and I'm like, I like Chris. He's a young 35. I think he's a good fit for Phoenix. I wanted to get your take there because Devin Booker, first off, Phoenix wants to make sure they hold on to Booker. So knowing that Chris Paul still has at least 3 good solid years left if he stays healthy, that Booker's thinking, okay, got Ayton, we've got some players, still have cap money to add some more. And I thought that move made sense. When I heard the rumors of Chris Paul to New York, I'm just like, gosh, there's too many pieces that are needed. But Russell Westbrook makes sense to me. Talk to me about Phoenix, though, going out and getting a Chris Paul and what that means to the city of Phoenix with Devin Booker sticking around now, Ayton. And there's a lot to like about sports down in Phoenix. You got the Cardinals playing the way they are with Kyler Murray and getting DeAndre Hopkins. So it's a nice little mix there, and it's a great place to be right now. And I think this Suns team that went into that bubble needing to win all 8 of their games to even have a chance to make the postseason at the number 8 slot in the West. Well, they did win all 8 of their games, but they just fell short. I mean, at least people got to see that, you know what? Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, if these guys can step up, this could be a pretty good squad. And now bringing over Chris Paul, I think it's exciting times there to be a Phoenix Suns fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the first part about New York and Chris Paul. I mean, I liked it, but like you said, he's 35. He's a ton of money for a 35-year-old where, yeah, he would lead the pack of the young guys and help RJ and Mitch develop, but it's just not worth it. I'd rather them go for Westbrook, who's about 4 years younger. Then the other side of the coin, the Phoenix Suns part of the question, man, that's a great pickup. That's what Devin Booker needs, a real point guard facilitator who'll hook him up in the best spots possible on the floor and really just help him be even better. I mean, Devin Booker, who's his best teammate been so far in his career? I mean, I can't even really think off the top of my head. And I'm thinking now it's Chris Paul undoubtedly. So CP3 at the helm is going to really help Booker and Ayton, like you said. Yeah, there's also the young guys in Cam Johnson. They just drafted Jalen Smith at number 10. He's a power forward, so he'll be in there next to Ayton. And I see the Phoenix Suns getting back into the playoffs as well this upcoming season.
All right, before we get into the draft, talk to me about what's up with Klay Thompson, because this is not good.
Ooh, just devastating, man. It happened right before the draft. I'm so busy. I'm in high spirits thinking, I'm putting out all this content. A lot of great numbers on NBA Buzz is going to come out. Then I see I got to report the news on Klay Thompson hurting his other leg, not the one that just got recovered, the other one, a lower leg injury. They're thinking possibly an Achilles, which is horrible because he just missed the entire season. So I was looking forward to the Warriors being top dogs in the West again, as was, everybody in the league. Klay Thompson, arguably the best shooter in the league. Who wants to see him go down? I mean, everybody wants a competitive NBA, and him going down is just horrible again. So that diagnosis will come out tomorrow, and you can find that on NBA Buzz the second it happens.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And follow Mikey, by the way, at NBA Buzz, Mikey, Mikey. Mikey Domagala, man, so much information. That's why we got to have you kind of go over it. But Anthony Edwards probably didn't surprise you. The last couple of days, speculation leaning towards him as far as on the betting boards as being the number one overall pick by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then we didn't know, because we heard LaMelo Ball, we heard James Wiseman, we heard those three names, just didn't know what order, but it kind of started rising to the top to where it was going to be Anthony Edwards. Talk to me a little bit about Minnesota grabbing Edwards and then Warriors following up with Wiseman. And how good is LaMelo Ball in Mikey Domagala's guesstimation?
Yeah, we'll start at the top. Number one, Anthony Edwards. Oh, my God, he's a tremendous player as well, because he doesn't have a kid's body. He's 19. I mean, I'm 2 years older than that kid already. It's crazy to even think that. But he's 6'5". He's like over 200 pounds. This huge, bulky, quick body who could shoot, dunk, run in transition. Even has good court vision. So he's really going to be a great shooting guard next to D'Angelo Russell. To be honest, I thought he was going to fall to third to the Hornets. I thought LaMelo was going to go number one. And I'll tell you why. Well, first I'll talk about LaMelo. He's a great player as well. 6'8" point guard. You're not going to find that every day. He's a shooter, and he does just about everything too. Yeah, he has room to grow, but he also brings the Ball name with him. He brings, the publicity, the jersey sales, the putting butts in seats in Minnesota, what I thought. Now he'll be putting butts in seats in Charlotte. So I like LaMelo a lot, and I'm excited to see LaMelo taken by Michael Jordan's Charlotte Hornets. How LaMelo and MJ are going to mesh. Is MJ going to really, be a mentor to LaMelo? So that'll be very exciting. And then to touch on James Wiseman at 2, yeah, that's what the Warriors had to do. They need a center, to build around Steph Curry, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, and hopefully Klay Thompson comes back to fill out that starting five.
Yeah, that's the tough one right there, that Klay Thompson, because, it's almost like unless you were a Warriors fan, most of the country had enough of the Warriors winning, so we were like, all right, but we don't want to see guys go down in order for them not to win. We'd rather see somebody step up and knock them off the perch. And so then when you lose Curry and then Klay, and then you're thinking like, all right, feel sorry for these guys. It'll be nice to see them back at an elite level next year when both those guys are back. And lo and behold, Klay Thompson takes another step backwards. That one hurts. Boston Celtics, I saw they grabbed Peyton Pritchard just a little bit ago, and I wanted to get your take on Gordon Hayward. Is he going to stick around in Boston?
It's a great question. I mean, they just extended his deadline till Thursday, I believe, of when he'll be able to, pick up his option if he wants to re-sign or if he wants to get traded. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I think Boston has lost faith in Gordon Hayward. I mean, he was inconsistent last year, and, that's another guy I feel for. We're talking about Klay getting injured. Hayward getting injured that first game with the Celtics a couple years back, and he just hasn't been the same since. He was ready to head into superstardom, in my opinion, after Utah, and once he made the move to Boston. Yeah, I think they're going to move on. I think Boston wants to build around Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at the 3 and 4, or the 2 and the 3-ish. So, I think he's going to be out the door, Ken.
Mikey, the Brooklyn Nets, and we heard the James Harden thinking, hey, you know what, maybe Brooklyn would be a good place for me. Well, we already know Kevin Durant's there, Kyrie Irving. But Houston's not just going to ship James Harden to Brooklyn without getting something big back in return, and they're not just looking at, Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie and draft choices. It would be a steep price. What's up with Harden? I mean, do you expect? I mean, sure, he's still under contract with the Rockets, but do you expect Houston to be able to figure things out and put a team around Harden now that's going to be competitive enough to make him want to stay there because he doesn't want to be around any rebuilding process? And it is crazy how times have changed to where guys are like, I'm not going to stick around here, because you don't have a chance to win. I mean, back in the day, the worst teams got the best draft choices. That was going to give them a chance to be able to compete in the near future. Now it's like, I don't want to go there. I don't think so. I mean, to where you even hear Trevor Lawrence, hey, may go back to Clemson because may not want to play for the New York Jets. So, I mean, crazier things have happened, but it is kind of tough to see where there's not a chance for a lot of teams to get competitive enough to where they're going to have an opportunity to win the whole enchilada unless they have somebody that they draft, say like a Steph Curry, because nobody really knew coming out of Davidson that Curry was going to be as good as he was, but his range was so ridiculous that he was able to push it out further and further and then attracted other players that wanted to be there. And then, with Klay Thompson and Steph, and then you got Draymond, and then the pieces started falling together, and, of course, Durant out there as well. But your take as far as, all this stuff now with the Houston Rockets, and what are we looking as far as James Harden? Does he end up coming back to Houston, or could you really see them making a push to get him somewhere else, and would Brooklyn be one of those teams?
Ken, you brought it up. Welcome to the LeBron James era where the whole NBA changed after he went to Miami. Mm-hmm. LeBron kind of, he went to Miami, and Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh there created the first major super team. And then it's kind of all went downhill from there. Like you said, if a player wants out, okay, here you go, Adrian Wojnarowski. Just tweet that I want out, and let's set the NBA world on fire. So that's kind of what Harden did. And he just turned down a $50 million a year. $50 million a year, the most in NBA history, what would have been, contract extension with the Rockets. Harden turned it down, saying he wants to go to Brooklyn. So what's going to happen? Oof. I could only see Kyrie Irving being involved to get Harden to Brooklyn, because I don't think LeVert, Dinwiddie, and all those guys for Harden is enough. I think Houston could get better packages elsewhere. And I was talking to my brother Danny about this the other day, that remember who's in charge here, the Houston Rockets. If they don't want to deal Harden, they don't have to right now. So if they want to wait till the trade deadline or next summer potentially. So in my opinion, I could see Harden sticking around, and I really, really, really don't want to see him going to Brooklyn with KD, Kyrie, and Harden as the third guy. It's just, the NBA, Ken, it's kind of back to being balanced now. Every team has either a great player or an up-and-coming great player, even the worst teams in the league. Look at, the Knicks, R.J. Barrett's going to be a good guy. And look at the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young. They're at the bottom of the barrel, and they got Trae Young. So all these teams have explosive, talented guys now, and the league is out of balance. So why, James Harden? Why? Why do you want to go to Brooklyn and kind of mess it all up?
Crazy stuff where I would have thought that Bogdanovich would be okay with the Sacramento Kings trading him to Milwaukee. It made sense. You're going to go play with Giannis, Middleton. I mean, Jrue Holiday there now. I don't get it. I mean, I don't know where he wants to go, but apparently this deal is off now, because he's going to enter a restricted free agency, and he scuttled at the sign and trade deal with Milwaukee. And with Jrue Holiday going over there, I mean, and you know what? I'll tell you what. If it doesn't go down, I feel good about Dante DiVincenzo getting an opportunity to move into that starting lineup? Because I like this kid. I think this kid plays his ass off all the time. He plays hard. You could see the Villanova work ethic is there, and I think he fits in there. And, talking last night with someone telling me, just don't want Brook Lopez, shooting threes all day, would rather him start down in the low blocks like Anthony Davis and then, pop out for that open three. We know that's in his arsenal. Totally get that. But I'd like to see DiVincenzo on there, and you have Holiday, and you have Middleton, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then, of course, Brook Lopez. I mean, there's a lot to like. You have Pat Connaughton and some other players. Korver's still around there. Ilyasova will stick around now if that trade's null and void. So talk to me there, and what's the mindset of Bogdanovich?
Yeah, that's a great point about Dante DiVincenzo, and I didn't even kind of realize that. That all happened at the beginning of the draft. Like, obviously, I saw that it happened, but I didn't put two and two together that, man, Dante DiVincenzo might be their starting shooting guard next year if, things work out like this. And for Bogdanovich, I'm in the same boat as you, Ken. I mean, I'm still a kid. I make mistakes, and also all of us kids make mistakes. Bogdanovich is just about 22, 23. Man, I think this is a huge mistake in his career not wanting to join the Giannis Antetokounmpo number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks next year because, him as an addition at the 2 alongside Giannis, Middleton, Lopez, like you said, that's instant success, possibly even more so than last season. So, man, I don't know what his mindset is. I don't know if he wants to chase money over success, but he could have kind of got both with Milwaukee. So we'll see what happens. And if not, Dante DiVincenzo, like you said, I hope he steps up. And now that you got this idea in my head, I'm going to make an NBA Buzz post about DiVincenzo possibly stepping up big time. So thanks for that.
No doubt. I like the kid a lot, and I loved him at Villanova, and he's got great range, and, he stays within himself, and he understands the type of star power that he's playing with. But the cool thing with Giannis, to me, Mikey, is that he doesn't have that ego. He plays hard. He's his harshest critic, he's going to be all over himself. And there was no doubt that it was a different Milwaukee team that we saw go back into the bubble than the team we saw throughout the first several months of the season before the COVID hit. And, Middleton, I thought, played well, and DiVincenzo played hard, but there was lack of chemistry, and then Giannis was really pressing to where, like, okay, we're the number 1 seed, we're, in the East, we're supposed to, be better than this, and then, then you could see them start pressing, and when they got to the playoffs, I knew they were going to lose. I bet against them, and I felt bad because my wife's from Wisconsin, and I wanted them, of course, being a Knicks fan, and I knew the Knicks weren't going to make the playoffs, so I said, you know what, I'm going to root for this Bucks team, but in fact, you had gone back to Wisconsin, got me the Bucks tank top and everything, and, I said, okay, I feel good about it, but then watching them in the bubble, I just didn't feel good about the team. They just looked like they were out of sync. And, Brook Lopez stepped out, and he did have some nice scoring games. But, a lot of it was from, the perimeter. And they just didn't get a lot of second shot opportunities. So there was things that needed to be tweaked. What about Milwaukee going forward? Because I really think this team still has potential. And what does Giannis have to do to make his game, as far as being postseason ready? You can put up some ridiculous stats during the regular season, but I don't think he's even all about that triple-double stuff. I think he's just about winning. And I think what I like about him most is that he knows he could be in a bigger arena as far as a city. He could be that guy in New York. He could be that guy in L.A. somewhere. He could be, any of the big cities. But he likes Milwaukee, and he feels good about it, and he's a very loyal young man. And so right now, as long as there are key pieces around him, I think he sticks around in Milwaukee. But what do the Bucks need to do to take that next step? Because if they just, again, null and void, we take the Bogdanovich trade out of there, is there still enough there, or do they need to do more to create more depth? And, we mentioned DiVincenzo. Do you think he is that guy that can step up into that shooting guard position?
Yeah. I think they should leave it alone, even if they don't get Bogdanovich. I think Bogdanovich is actually the perfect guy to fill in that lineup at the 2. But say they don't. I think the addition of Drew Holiday alone will keep Giannis there because they need a very good point guard. They need a a defensive stopper at the one. Like, yeah, George Hill was solid 3-point shooter, but he wasn't Drew Holiday. And I think just Giannis, maybe he's not selfish, but Giannis giving the ball around more. Drew Holiday putting up 15 to 20 a night, along with Giannis, dominating as well. I think that's part of the missing puzzle too. Drew Holiday getting there and really helping them out on the defensive end, because you ask any NBA player in the league, any guard, who's the toughest on-ball defender, they're saying Drew Holiday. So I think that's really going to help Milwaukee. Drew's a great leader. He's a veteran. And that's another part of Giannis. I think he needs to step up his game more. I think he needs to really he's humble, but he needs a little Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality in him, that he's just going to go out there and kill you and be locked in every single game. Like you said, he was not locked in the playoffs, and it was evident because he just was not playing good, and he needs to also develop a jump shot. So with some of that, Drew Holiday there, I think they're in pretty good shape.
Okay, so for you folks just tuning in, maybe don't know what's going on as far as the NBA draft, Anthony Edwards out of Georgia went overall, number 1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. At number 2, James Wiseman out of Memphis, abbreviated season there for Memphis, and Penny Hardaway went over to Golden State. LaMelo Ball goes to Charlotte, and Michael Jordan. Patrick Williams out of Florida State goes to the Chicago Bills. Isaac Okoro out of Auburn, Bruce Pearl's guy, goes to Cleveland. Onyeka Okongwu from USC, the center, goes to the Atlanta Hawks. And then Killian Hayes goes to the Pistons. What do you know about this young man? Because we remember Tony Parker coming out of France. We didn't know a whole hill of beans about Tony Parker, but he turned out to be one of the most consistent guards in the league for a long, long time for Popovich in San Antonio. What do we know about Killian Hayes?
Yeah, so he's a great overseas young kid as well, been a pro for a little bit. And I thought the Knicks were going to take him if he fell. The Knicks, thought otherwise and didn't, but lefty point guard, 6'5". I mean, these point guards nowadays, Ken, they're big dudes. So this guy has handles at 6'5", could slash, could shoot. I like Killian Hayes a lot. And who was that drafted him? Was that Detroit?
That was Detroit, yep, number 7.
Detroit, so he's going to be their point guard of the future. And another aspect of that, Derrick Rose is next to him. Maybe D. Rose. I know you said Tony Parker, too, is a mentor, but Derrick Rose as well will be there in Detroit to help him out.
There you go. Okay, so then we had Obi Toppin taken by the Knicks at number 8. Denny Avdija from Israel. What do you know?
Avdija, yeah.
Avdija.
It's funny. People are very high on that kid. And I see the potential. Yeah, he's like 6'7", guard/forward. He could shoot and stuff like that. But in his second or third year pro or something like that, he only averaged 10 a game last year overseas. I'm like, that's a little concerning. Only about 10 points per game overseas. And, this kid has opportunity. He's going so high. They predicted him top 5. He kind of fell to 9. So, we got to see with him. Is he going to be one of those European guys who just doesn't stick in the NBA? We'll see. But another guy I want to stop at is Okongwu with the Atlanta Hawks. People are comparing him to Bam Adebayo. They got the same style of play. And you pair him along with Capella and Trae Young and those young guys in Atlanta, and that Hawks team might sneak into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, definitely can get some more boards. That'll be good that Capella will have some help there. Jalen Smith loved his game over at Maryland, and I thought another good, solid pick by the Suns. They're really bolstering that backcourt. I mean, look, Paul and Booker can't play every minute, and a kid like Jalen Smith's going to step right in. He's sky high tonight going, man, it's going to be fun.
Oh, he's very excited. I mean, going into the NBA, playing with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, this new this new project for the Suns, that's going to be very exciting too.
Devin Vassell, I liked him at Florida State, good shooting guard, goes to the Spurs.
Tyrese Halliburton, excuse me.
Yeah,
he's projected top 5, Ken. Top 5. People were thinking he was going to go 4 to Chicago. Dropped all the way to 12. I wonder why.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any speculation on why? Is it something off the court? Is it something health-related? Because that's the first 2 things you think of. All right, maybe there's something character-wise. Most most players, Iowa State, pretty good character, but you don't always know. So we'll see what comes out, and that's the interesting thing, and that's the great thing as far as following your website as well, NBA Buzz, because you'll have all that information, whatever you find out, and you'll keep elaborating on it year-round. Mikey, tell everybody real quick a little bit about the site and how you got it going, because it's been going for a while now, and over 2.8 million followers on your Facebook site.
Yeah, so I started NBA Buzz, the brand, back in 2012 when I was 12 years old. Right now, all combined, it's up to 3 million followers across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And from there, I developed my own show called Inside Buzz, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, where I interview NBA players and stuff like that. But NBA Buzz as a whole, yeah, it's breaking news and posting statistics of these players who are just drafted. You'll see, high-quality graphics that you won't see anywhere else but NBA Buzz. I do just about everything myself, all the posting, all the research, the interviews for Inside Buzz. So check out NBA Buzz on Facebook, just NBA Buzz, and also at official NBA Buzz on Instagram and Twitter. And Ken, I haven't spoken to you in a while. Last time we spoke was August. I'm now co-hosting an ESPN podcast called The Truth. So I'm very blessed to get that opportunity. We just wrapped up shooting episode 1 with NBA veteran Derek Anderson. So check out the Truth podcast on ESPN's Pod Center. I'm very blessed to be a part of that.
No, dude, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that, Mike. And you have such a bright future. 21 years old. Gosh dang it, man. You got the world in front of you, man. I'm happy for you. First off, being in New York and New York getting hit so hard COVID-wise, I'm hoping that the family and everybody over there is okay. Any type of normalcy there in New York, or are things battening down again?
So I'm out here on Long Island, and it's not as crazy as the boroughs, but the boroughs, Governor Cuomo and the mayor just shut down the schools for the rest of the year in the city. So things are, COVID cases are coming back. People are going crazy, going to get their paper towels and all their home goods that they need just in case of anything. And more so in the city, it's getting crazy. Out here, it's still a little quiet, and I'm just down here chilling, making my NBA Buzz posts every day, doing interviews and everything. So I don't mind the quarantine and being home.
There you go. You're going to just keep on working. Hey, Malachi Flynn, where did he go to? Because I know he went near the end of the first round at number 29.
I'm looking at the draft list right now, just in case you catch me off guard with somebody and I got to look at it. But Flynn went 29 to Toronto. Pretty good pick.
Yeah, I like him. I think this kid's got a great upside. I saw the Lakers grabbed Jaden Daniels out of Washington. Good, strong power forward. Azubuike loved him at Kansas. I didn't know when he was going to go, but the Utah Jazz grabbed him at number 27, and I think that's a good, solid pick there. Mitchell and those guys, they could use a guy like Azubuike, man, down low on the blocks there that can grab some boards. Quickly out of Kentucky, I know he went at 25. I'm trying to remember. He went right before I think he went to Denver. Emmanuel Quickly, and so I'm starting to.
He went to OKC.
Oh, he went to OKC. Okay, so I'm just starting to see a bunch of these now and take a look at them. Boy, it's going to be fun to go over this draft all night. So you're going to be working, pretty much nonstop over the next several days. I know you've done that before during the postseason and whatnot, but when you get a draft like this, you're going to make sure, especially with a lot of guys that could be, coming in from overseas, where a lot of us aren't clued in on like you mentioned, Bomaro from Argentina, and there's several other ones, the youngster from France. Killian Hayes. So, and a young kid from Israel. It's nice to have a site like yours that we can go to where you're going to give us all that information. And I'll tell you, man, I'm just really proud of you, man, that you're able to do all the hard work that you do. But you've got some good people that help you out. But I know you do a lot of this stuff yourself.
Thank you, man. I appreciate all that and having me on the platform. And yeah, the next weeks and months coming up is going to be crazy because the trading already happened. Free agency is on the 20th. Then training camp on the 1st. The NBA season on the 22nd. Christmas Day games. And then, boom, the season's in full swing. So it's crazy. Tomorrow is almost like the last calm day because tomorrow's in between the draft and free agency. So tomorrow's just a lot of posts about the draft and certain sleepers from the draft on NBA Buzz and stuff like that. Then the 20th is just going to be bonkers with free agency beginning and trades happening, signing trades, and man, that's the fun of it. Using my 3 million followers and just getting all this momentum going, all these page likes and stuff like that. Just checking right now, over the last week, we've reached 45 million people on NBA Buzz. So, those numbers will be going up as time goes on and the season continues. So I'm looking forward to it.
That is great stuff. Okay, so Nico Mannion went in the second round, I believe, the youngster out of Arizona, and I didn't get a chance to see it. I saw it. Somebody tweeted it out. I didn't get a chance to see that, and I didn't know if
he went to Golden State, Ken.
Wow.
Yeah, right. That's he's another hardworking kid who'll be able to fit a role like the Golden State bench. So I like that pick a lot. He went up in the 40s, I believe.
Wow, that is impressive. Golden State, boy, they just continue. And then, of course, knowing what happened, with Klay Thompson, so not knowing that he's going to be around. I mean, there's a good chance that he could miss again, especially if it's an Achilles. I mean, he's done. I mean, they're set to start December 22nd. And where are we, Mikey, as far as that with guys like LeBron James and some of the veterans saying, we don't want to start before Christmas. We want to start after the holiday season. And the NBA is like, look, we're at risk of losing too much money. Yep. We've got to start. We've got to have that Christmas holiday and or a couple days beforehand, to get going as far as bringing in revenue, especially with no fans in the stands. And we got to figure out how we're working this whole thing. So where are we there? And what about some of these veterans? Do you expect to see some of these guys maybe filter in a little bit later in 2021? Or do you expect somebody like a LeBron James to be part of that defending champion Lakers squad at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I'll touch on all parts of it. People consider LeBron the GOAT, and people don't consider LeBron the GOAT because of these reasons. So he's going to get a lot of heat if he sits out some games and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, Michael Jordan gets on that court, and he just wants to beat you. He doesn't care when, how, whenever. Even if a week after the season, he'll go play pickup and try to beat you. So I don't think Michael Jordan would really care about this 72-game day span in between. But LeBron James and other veterans, you never know. They might sit out some back-to-backs and stuff like that. My overall thoughts on it from the NBA, they made the right move starting before Christmas Day. I want to see the Christmas Day games, as does all the fans. You also got to think of the other side of it, Ken. The 2021 Olympic Games that were supposed to be in 2020 is now the 2021 summer. So NBA players want to play in that, and they need to have enough time to go play in that as well. And the NBA doesn't want any overlap with the Olympics to lose ratings. So it had to be done, this 72-game season.
Round number 2, 29th overall pick, Cassius Winston, goes to the Wizards. And the classic is that the following pick, Cassius Stanley, goes to the Indiana Pacers out of Duke. I wonder what the odds would have been that back-to-back picks, the guy's first name will be Cassius. I mean, too bad the great Muhammad Ali's not around. Would have enjoyed that. But that is, I mean, just things like that. I love to see little things like that people just they're not talking about, but I am over here.
Yeah. And another thing, right before the phone call for me to come on the show, I just posted about Kenyon Martin Jr.
Yes.
Was selected 52 by Houston. So that's exciting to see, Kenyon Martin's son in the NBA.
Yeah,
Strong guy as well.
I had a buddy of mine, Andrew Fishfane, just tweeted out. He goes, I know I'm getting old when I see Kenyon Martin Jr. going in the draft. No doubt. And his old man was fun to watch. In fact, he had a brutal injury there his last year there at Cincinnati. But, man, what a player he was. I mean, this guy was absolutely just setting the world on fire until he got hurt. It is good to see some of the guys from the Mountain West get grabbed. Sam Merrill, who we know has a shot and a half and really put Utah State and Craig Smith's team, the Aggies, on his back. He was the last one selected in round number 2, Sam Merrill out of Utah State. And I'm trying to see who grabbed him. I didn't see who had that last pick, but because the site I'm looking at, boy, oh boy, you click on it, and it's hard. I mean, they have like the little logos next to it on ESPN. I can't even make out what this logo is. It's so small and he
went to the Pelicans. I'll beat you on that one with his feet.
Okay. There you go. There you go. I'm just saying, like just from far away, and I know my eyes are going on me. I know my eyes are going on me, but if that's a pelican, it looks like a freaking flying saucer from where I'm looking. Jalen Harris, though, also out of Nevada, goes right before him. And you know what? It is good to see some of the guys from, the Mountain West, some of the mid-major conferences go as well. And that's a cool thing about college hoops, because you don't have to be from a major conference to have talent. And we see some of these guys develop and then show, what type of player they are. And also at number 21, Jessup, the youngster out of Boise State. And we saw that guy shoot lights out many times. Good, solid shooting guard. So it's going to be fun to see him transition to the next level. Skylar Mays, enjoyed watching him at LSU. And, of course, the cloud over the LSU program for a little bit with the coach and, sidestepping some of these tapes and whatnot. But is what it is. Isaiah Joe. Going to the Sixers. I think this kid has a very big upside. Liked watching him at Arkansas. I thought he had a lot of potential as well. And there's another kid from Israel. Is it Jan Matter? Going at number 47, and it looks like went to the Boston Celtics. So a couple kids from Israel in the first 2 rounds. I like to see it.
Yeah, this international crop of players coming through. And, this league, this draft, people were kind of discrediting it because it wasn't that deep. But if you think about it, there's a ton of great role players in this. Maybe not superstars, but almost every pick is going to help an NBA team. And even outside of the top 5, maybe the first 5 are some all-star type players, star players. Outside of that, all very serviceable players.
There you go. Xavier Tillman, looking like he went to the Sacramento Kings out of Michigan State. And, boy, I'm just getting – this is my first time to see a lot of this because, as you know, I was in transition and then trying to put out fires prior to the show. But I'm very blessed, Mikey Domagala, that you took time out for SportsX Radio, man. I appreciate you big time. Again, ESPN podcast, The Truth. You just did that first one there with Derek Anderson. And where do you find that? ESPN, would they have a podcast segment? A little heading there or something? Is it right there? How do I get to that?
Yeah, so it's on ESPN Pod Center. Type that into Google, and it will come up. I don't think it's on the site yet, but it's going to be on the site once we get them the file and everything made up. We're dropping the first episode December 1st. So from now till then, I got a lot of editing to do on my hands. And so that'll be very exciting. And I'm just blessed, Ken.
You are.
Just a lot of hard work over the years, just formulating into this stuff. So got to give myself some kind of credit as well. So
well, when you run into Mark Spears over there from the Undefeated, Mark used to come on the show, and then, of course, he got picked up there by ESPN. But what a cool guy that guy is. And he knows. And he worked in the Bay Area for a while, so he covered the Warriors. But he would get some great interviews and just some great writing. So Mark Spears, one of my favorite people as far as covering the NBA over the last several decades, does a great job. There's some good, solid NBA guys, but none that have that resume that say they've been working since they're 12 years old and have 2.8 million followers like my man Mikey Domagala, the New York kid, baby, the New York prodigy, man. Got to love this kid. Anything else that you want to get out there as far as the draft? Because I know we're going to be following your site over the next couple of weeks just to get on top of all this, because there are a lot of these guys that I have no clue about, especially the guys from overseas. Most of the guys college-wise, I've seen them play. Some of the guys, not so much, but Nwora, I see him over there going to the Milwaukee Bucks out of Louisville. I like that. Yep, and I like that pick. I like that pick for Milwaukee, and I think he's going to like going there, especially with Holiday going over to help out Middleton and Giannis. I really think that Milwaukee's going to be a better team, and I think they may actually be better without Bogdanovich, because there's only one basketball, and you've got a bunch of guys that can shoot the ball already. And I think DiVincenzo is going to fit in nice. I really do. I think this kid's got what it takes, work ethic-wise and skill-wise, to be a starter in this league.
Yeah, man, that's my argument with the Brooklyn Nets. Just in case Harden goes there, there's one basketball. How is Harden, Kyrie, and KD going to figure it all out with one basketball? But yeah, Milwaukee will be exciting, as will other teams, just because of free agency happening, all the trades, and what's going to happen what happened in the draft. Excuse me. How these players are going to pan out.
Mikey, last thing I wanted to get into as far as what are we looking at as far as Commissioner Silver starting out in December, no fans in the stands, and then, of course, we've got to wait and see as far as the COVID and whatnot. But is the second half of the season where they talking about potentially getting some fans socially distanced into a different arenas, or is it going to be to where if there's certain states that say, hey, no, we're not allowing fans, like we saw Pennsylvania step up as far as the football, and if certain states step up, like California, you can't have fans in the stands for the pros or the college. I mean, how are they going to work that? Are they going to worry about if it's fair or not, or is everything going to be considered to potentially be in a bubble?
I don't think they're going to want to do a second bubble. I've been hearing rumors that they won't, but I've also been hearing things from all sides, all different talks. So I've been hearing no fans, and I've also been hearing, like you said, 25% of fans in specific states based on where these teams are. So other than that, I'm not really too sure. With COVID and all these new rules and regulations, it's like a day-by-day, week-by-week thing. So I could tell you one thing, and it could change in 2 hours. So a lot of that is all up in the air still.
Any other trades on the horizon that you know about? And what about free agents? Who's still out there? Is there anybody out there right now that nobody's really talking about that could be somebody that could be a sleeper and go somewhere else? I mean, is there anything on your radar that we should be looking for? I know you're anticipating potentially Westbrook going to the Knicks. You're not sold yet on Harden going to Brooklyn. I can see that. I think there's a lot that would have to work for Houston to be satisfied by sending Harden. But what about anything else as far as that you see on the horizon as far as a potential trade or whatnot, and just anything else you want to duck in there while you got a couple minutes?
A couple of different guys. I'll touch on these three. I'm looking at Fred VanVleet, still a free agent. Contavious Caldwell-Pope declined his contract with the Lakers. I'm assuming to get more money from the Lakers, but you never know. People are going to throw the kitchen sink at him with a tub of money in it. And also Jeremy Grant opting out with, I believe he was in OKC. Why am I drawing a blank? But those three guys, I see Van Fleet getting a ton of money somewhere, whether it's Toronto. Hey, maybe even the Knicks will swoop in. Who knows?
That's what I was wondering. Yep.
I mean, yeah, Van Fleet, I wouldn't mind that either. But is he worth over $100 million for a guy who had like one really good season this past season? Is he worth that yet? I'm not sure. But Jeremy Grant, Phoenix Suns should scoop him up.
Freddie VanVleet, though, I loved him at Wichita State, and unfortunately, Coach Greg Marshall, man, ran into some problems, man. I never knew it. He came on the show many, many times, and never knew, what was going on there in practice. Look, I mean, a lot of these old school ways with a lot of these coaches just don't fly anymore. The Bobby Knights and coaches like that, they wouldn't be welcome commodities now like they were back in the day. Some of these kids just, they don't know, how to handle certain things. But then there are some things that if they are indeed true, that shouldn't have to be handled by anybody. So, as much as I had respect for Coach Marshall, him working out a buyout there with Wichita State probably made the right move there. And you hate to see that because when you get to know somebody and all you've seen is greatness, and then all of a sudden you find out, some of the other things. Look, I know there's other people that say, hey, KT, you do all this, da-da-da. I know how many times I've failed. So we all fail sometimes. Sometimes you just have to understand when enough is enough. And as Clint Eastwood said back in the day, man's got to know his limitations. So I hope Marshall's able to work out his
Great
future.
movie.
Yep. Oh yeah. There you go. For a young kid, you've done it all. Listen, I'm going to have you back on the show after all this stuff kind of settles. We have some trades. We have some stuff going down. Get you on the show maybe in a couple weeks so we can go back over where we sit as we get set to head into December 22nd in the next NBA season.
Ken, as always, thank you so much for having me on. And Yeah, man, Ken, I know you know where to find me. Anytime you need me on the spot, whether I need notice or I don't need notice, I'm up every night past midnight, so I'm ready to talk any night, anytime. So I'm good to go.
And I know you're good as far as you tweeting back to people at NBA Buzz Mikey Mikey. Mikey Domagala, appreciate you, my brother. God bless. Archive will be up in probably about 45 minutes. Make sure you get it over there so you can get up on your site as well.
All right, Ken. Stay healthy and safe. Thanks as always.
There you go. Great stuff. Mikey Domagala on short notice as well. Love that kid. And again, right now it's, what are you looking at? You're almost 1 o'clock back there, but kid's got so much energy. Just love that kid. All right. So Wednesday night, we'll be back at Steiner's Monday and Wednesday of next week, 8168 Las Vegas Boulevard South, 8410 West Cheyenne, and, of course, where I am on Wednesdays, 1750 North Buffalo. Fish Fan will be there twice next week, and then KT will be back the following week. Till tomorrow on a Throwback Thursday, Andy Isco will be with me and potentially Dr. Pierce. You know the rules. No drinking and driving, no texting and driving. Most of all, God bless our troops. God bless you live from Vegas Sports X Radio, 101.5 on the FM side, 720 on the AM side from Paneshay and Boyle Studios. Thanks to Ashley. Have a great evening. Talk to you tomorrow. God bless. Good night, everybody.